Last fall, I heard your heart break. I heard what they said. Rejected, back down. I should have told you then, but now I can't wait one more moment. You're never alone. You're never alone, never alone. Your world falls apart. You're never alone. You're never alone. You're never alone. Next step, yeah, we're moving on. Standing in the raindrops, we feel like we're falling, but we'll take hold of your hand. You said you'd never leave, and we believe it. You're never alone, never alone. Your world falls apart. You're never alone. Believe in your heart and tell the whole world about it. That for our city is the remedy. Now we're flying and it's love forever. We were blind, now we see. Never alone, never alone. The waves come crashing. You're never alone. You're never alone, never alone. Your world falls apart. You're never alone. You're never alone, never alone. The waves come crashing. You're never alone. You're never alone, never alone. Your world falls apart. You're never alone. feel it, the realest, and you can steal it. He sealed it, so when it's lit, kneeling, praying that I take risks. Admittedly, there's so much more I don't see in me, and I'm trembling that the flames won't burn experientially, yo. Up in flames, embers flying, like love will flow unifying. Soul after soul, we're trying, smoke signal identifying. Oh, Holy Spirit, emboldened to you, but arms I am holding, set me on fire. I know you got my back. Whoa. Won't stop, drop and roll. Won't put it out, cause it's out of control. Whoa. Feel the backdrop explode like a cannon. Global woman in the city, let's go. Whoa. It's for you and you and you. Repair what's broken as a tidal waves move. Whoa. It's for you and you and flip. Burn, glow, heat, rise, mount top, eyes fixed. It's bound to get lit.
Hear thousands of voices singing praise due to you, my King. And the whole earth trembles and will awake at your feet. Tongues of angels and tongues of your children, proclaiming with one voice that you are the only true God. And to the King of Kings and the Creator of the universe, be praises unto you. Let your glory fill all the earth as we lift our praises to the King of Kings and the Creator of the universe. Praises unto you. Let your glory fill all the earth as we lift our praises to you. Let your glory come, let your glory dwell right here in our hearts, Lord. Let your glory come, let your glory dwell right here in our lives, Lord. Let your glory come, let your glory dwell right here in our hearts, Lord. Let your glory come, let your glory dwell right here in our lives, Lord. And to the King of Kings and the Creator of the universe, be praises unto you. Let your glory fill all the earth as we lift our praises to the King of Kings and the Creator of the universe.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight for our first virtual worship night. For those of you that have been in the past, we've known quite a big turnout. We've got a few different musicians leading us for worship. So tonight we actually have Steve Chalmers, who is the pastor of Grace Church. So he's going to be leading us in worship tonight, along with some practical teaching from both Sean and Adam. And we're also going to provide you guys with an update on Higher Sunderland 2020. And as well, we just want to make sure you guys have a really good night. So get yourself comfy, grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and we're going to head straight over to Steve, who's going to lead us in worship.
Let's just go into a time of worship right now as we just come before Jesus in our homes and just praise Him, pour out your heart to Him, just get in His presence. So let's just invite the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, come just as we worship right now. Just be with us. Draw us closer to the Lord right now. Draw us into His presence as we just worship at your throne. In Jesus' name. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. Working in this place, I worship you, I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. Touching every heart, I worship you, I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. city. You're the king of these people. You're the Lord of this nation. You are. You're the light in the darkness. You're the hope to the hopeless. You're the peace to the restless. You are. There is no one like our God. There is no one like our God. For greater things are yet to come. Greater things still to be done in this city. Greater things are yet to come. Greater things are still to be done here. Greater things are yet to come. Greater things still to be done in this city. Greater things are yet to come. Greater things are still to be done here. Our God reigns, and our God reigns forever. Your King reigns. Our God reigns, and our God reigns forever. Your King reigns. And our God reigns, and our God reigns forever. Your King reigns. So Jesus, we just thank thee, you reign, King above all kings, Lord above all lords. You reign in our lives, you reign in our city, you reign in this nation. We exalt you, we honor you, Jesus. Amen.
Big thanks to Steve Chalmers from Grace Church Elam in Dunfermline, Scotland, for leading us in worship. Steve will be back with us towards the end of our time today. My name is Sean. I'm CEO and co-founder of Ignite Movement, and I just want to take the next couple of minutes to update you on the Sunderland High Tour. The High Tour was due to visit the North East region for the very first time when it visits the city of Sunderland between June and July 2020. We'll have the opportunity to visit 8 local secondary schools and share the gospel to thousands of young people. Rounding the week off with a full feature-length concert featuring the Message Trust bands in partnership with the Beacon of Light. And today, this event would have marked our last event in our journey over the last year and a half to get us to the High Tour itself. But unfortunately, due to the situations and circumstances regarding COVID-19, we have had to move this event online, but I've had to also make the tough but necessary decision to postpone the scheduled High Tour until 2021. We are currently working very closely with the Message to establish some new dates. Please keep posted to all of our social media and onto our official website as well for updates regarding this, but we're hoping it's going to be somewhere around the region of spring, summer 2021. And although this is a bit of a stumbling block, we want to keep the momentum that's been built through our partnerships with schools. We had 8 schools ready to go who had booked onto the tour. We want to continue the momentum that we'd built up until the point of lockdown with those schools. We want to continue the momentum that local churches and local organizations who stood with us financially, in prayer, and in support, that we can keep this momentum going right the way throughout 2020, into 2021, into the revised tour. And if you're sitting there thinking, I've never heard of anything about the Higher Tour, if you've not been involved with anything that Ignite have done over the last year and a half, after me there's going to be a quick video which is just going to kind of show you in a nutshell what the Higher Tour is all about. So yeah, please check out the video.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. For those of you that don't know, my name is Adam, and we've also got Sean alongside me. Some of you may recognise him, Crime Watch, DJ Genesis, all that sort of stuff. There's not a chance we could do this part seriously as much as possible, but we're now going to move on to some practical elements. We are hoping that during this next 10 minutes or so that you are going to be able to learn some stuff from us, and we're just going to share some key lessons, some key things that we've learned on our journey, some mistakes that we've made, some things that we've done well, and basically just a time to encourage you as you reach after young people and try to share the gospel. But before we do that, Sean, I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself in a second. We are going to do a quick would you rather, okay?
Okay.
Now, answer these as quickly as you can. All right, no hesitating, because I know what you're like.
That's right.
Okay, nice and easy first one. It's the one I always start with. Would you rather go on holiday to the beach or to the countryside?
Oh, the beach, 100%.
Okay, that's fine. Would you rather drink Coke or drink Pepsi?
It's got to be drink Coke.
Okay, now this final one, and this might determine our friendship. Okay? And it's not a would you rather, but if you could choose any biscuit to have with a cup of tea, what biscuit would it be?
Oh, I'm torn between two.
Go on then. You got
Custard cream,
okay.
like the go-to standard, like solid biscuit, but also a chocolate hobnob. It's got to be
Solid
in
choice.
there.
Chocolate hobnobs are great for dunking.
Yes, yeah. So for that reason, chocolate hobnobs.
Okay. And also in the live chat, why don't you mention about what your favourite biscuit is? We're all about having fun here, and we'd love to know what your favourite biscuit is.
And if anyone wants to debate the fact that a Jaffa cake is a cake or a biscuit, I would love to hear that as well.
It's now going to kick off big time. So maybe if you could do a quick introduction, maybe of yourself, and also just for those that are joining us maybe for the very first time, about what Ignite Movement is and what we do.
Yeah, cool. My name is Sean. I'm co-founder, along with Adam, of Ignite Movement, which was founded way back in 2015, which is a Christian charity based in the Northeast, working with young people aged 11 to 16 through schools work, partnership work, events, and basically we're just trying to be a resource to the local churches, the local organizations, the local schools, in sharing the gospel creatively through music and creative arts. So that's just a little bit about us.
Awesome. And that's the first time he's kept it under a minute. Amen. So we are now going to kind of look into a bit more detail about who we are, what we do. But one of the things that we hold central here at Ignite Movement is the gospel. And it's something that we base our lives on. And I just want to bring in a verse just right at the beginning of this conversation that we're going to have. And that verse, it'll come up on the screen, is Isaiah 43, verse 18, I'm going to start from. And it just says this: "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. And this verse kind of really speaks to us all at Ignite. One of the main reasons why we kickstarted Ignite was that we felt God was calling us to do something new, something fresh. And that's what this verse is talking about. It's talking about doing a new thing. You know, God was releasing a vision to us that was allowing us to do a new thing. And at the time, and probably still even now, to be honest, there's a lot of negativity in the city of Sunderland where we're based. That actually it's a wasted city. There's nothing here for young people. There's nothing here to do. We're making a difference to that. And Ignite's just one of the many things, one of the many projects that are making a difference in our city. But this is why we kickstarted it.
From the very start, our vision's always been for the Northeast, but our heart has always been for the city of Sunderland, which is because that's where we're from. That's where we've been involved with some stuff as well. But yeah, picking up on the key lessons that we've learned, like Adam said, we launched back in 2015. Two very young lads, 23 years old, we launched our very first event, which was just kind of like a barbecue get together at the end of the term of July. A local church partnered with us to do this. Myself, I DJ'd. I think you shared, Adam, and then we had a free barbecue to end the term. And basically, people ask us all the time, how did Ignite start? What was the kind of background? How do even me and you know each other? And we use kind of the feedback that we had from the youth leaders that were in attendance, from the young people as well that were there, to kind of really shape and mold going forward what Ignite looked like. At the time, it wasn't called Ignite. I think it was called the Big Bash or something like that, we called it. But yeah, I think, you know, me and you, we've known each other for quite a while. We actually went to the same school together. I think I was in the year above you. Even when we were at school, I don't think we even talked or knew each other that well, or even, I think our friend circles were very different. And then as kind of years went on, which we'll touch on a little bit, we ended up doing a gap year together. We're involved in another organisation that's based in the city, doing some great work in schools. Ended up being involved in a sports project and missions together and things like that. And then, 2015 came. I'll kind of start us off on that. Maybe you can pick up some stuff as well. About we felt like God was kind of giving us a vision and a heart for young people across the city of Sunderland. And basically, the message was that just go out, share hope, value, and worth, input it into these young people, and do it in just a really creative and different way. And I think for us, the challenge has been a little bit that there's been kind of no blueprint prior to what we're doing now for us to follow off. So it would have been easy for us to go, well, that's what worked for them, and let's just copy that and recreate it and put our own twist on it. But actually, we were learning every step we went with this, right from 2015 right till 2020 now. We're still learning. And yeah, it was just a really big thing for us to take this big step of what God was kind of giving to us. But how we practically applied that, I think for both of us at the time was like, how the heck are we going to do this? We have very little finance. We had some experience at the time, but really needed to just seek God for wisdom and just for, you know, just what He had for us to carry ourselves in a way that was beyond our years. And yeah, I mean, do you want to pick? I mean, some of the key challenges for us, some of the key things. I think for me was always the fact that we had a vision from what God gave us, and we were quite clear about what that looked like and how that was down the line. But then it was putting that vision out to people, churches, organizations, people from the region, and really not trying to come across as these brash, cocky 22-year-old lads think we're going to take everyone for Jesus, but actually get to the kind of root of what God was trying to do through Ignite at the time. And, you know, and that was trying not to rub people up the wrong way. That was really trying to go out to people and organizations that have been doing some great work across the city and just sharing our heart and our vision of what God was doing. But I think some of it was that we really needed to big up some of the stuff we were doing, but really trying to do it in a way which wasn't forced or it wasn't brash or in your face, and stuff like that. And maybe at times we might have been, who knows? But yeah, I don't know if do you want to pick up on some stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the key things that we got was that we were very clear that it was the calling that we both had. It was something that was on our hearts for maybe a couple of years, to be honest. And it wasn't until a random day we were down at the beach, eating chips. Eating chips at the beach. It'll probably won't be one of my highlights that'll stay with me for as long as I live, to be honest. And we weren't even meeting to talk about anything to do with Ignite, anything to do with work. We just wanted to catch up as two friends and really just to see how life was going. And, you know, for us, that's key as well. Just a side point is to spend time, maybe if you're a church leader or you're an organization, spend time with your team, but just doing life together. But we'll touch on that. But going back to that day, I remember we were sat, I remember the exact bench, and we've revisited since. And I turned around to Sean and I said, Ignite. And he looked at me as if I'd was off my rocker. And I remember saying, that thing that God's been calling us to, that we've both been praying, we've both been seeking Him on, it's Ignite. And that's all I've got for now. I don't know where we go with this. I don't know where that takes us, but that's what it's going to be called and that's what it's going to be shaped around. And we've never looked back since. I think it was just, for us, it was key that we really just kept it kind of central to God, kind of central to the gospel. And we really just spent time seeking and praying. Because I think so often you can think that you've got a call and you can think you've got a vision, and then you go after it too fast.
Yeah.
But until you're certain that that's what God's calling you to do, and yes, there's a time when you have to step out, but we were 100% sure that's what God wanted. And I think that really helped us when we went into conversations with people, because they got that heart that was behind it, because God was fully behind it. And I think that was a key difference when we first started. And
I think we sat on that, the thing that God was downloading to us, we probably sat on that for about, a year and a half?
Yeah.
I'd say. And some of that time was, you know, if you know me, I am not the most patient person.
Definitely not.
All. And for me, it was a big lesson for me to learn actually just to be patient of what God was saying to us. You know, it would have been so easy for us, just like Adam said, to just go rush out and just do something just for the sake of doing it. But actually, we sat on that for about a year and a half, just in prayer, just getting in the Word. Even, you know, I shared a little, I think I shared a week ago, about just getting into His presence and doing nothing, just in the stillness and just waiting to see what He had for us. And I think we got to a point, maybe early or mid 2016, where I think we really knew what Ignite, the shell of Ignite, looked like for us.
Yeah. No, it's good. Like I said, it was definitely something that'll stick with us no matter where Ignite goes, no matter where it leads to. One of the key lessons I think everyone can learn, no matter whether you are a Christian, whether you're not, whether you go to church, whether you run an organization, whether maybe this is just for your own life, is to learn from your mistakes and actually to use your mistakes as a platform to then propel you further forward and to propel you further into the purpose that God's called you. And maybe Sean, we can maybe just talk about, maybe we can be a bit honest and talk about some of the mistakes that we have made.
Yeah, and I think for me as well, looking at that, so obviously 2015 we launched our first kind of trial event, and then I think we held 3 events, one 2016, a couple in 2017, and then I think for me one of the things I want to touch on is the 2017 we launched our very first schools mission week, where we went to visit 3 schools from across the week, worked with about 3,000 young people over that. And then on the Friday, we actually hired, at the time, the biggest indoor arena that Sunderland has to offer, which is the Point. Yeah. If you're from the city, you'll know what we're talking about. It used to be the old cinema before that. And that was, I think, for us, certainly from my point of view, the biggest turning point for us as an organisation, where regardless if we filled that place and packed it out. The fact that we kind of stood and went, yeah, we're going to work with 3 schools. We're going to bring a Christian band in with us. We're going to do lessons, assemblies, dinner time concerts. And then we're going to invite you guys all to a concert on Friday night where we can share the gospel. You can see the band full feature length. And, you know, at the time, I think a lot of people were still like, are these guys legit? And what they're doing? Like, we kind of get the heart, but we've just seen little snippets of it so far. And I think we both agree that the events we'd done prior to that mission week had been good, but actually weren't at the point we wanted to be at.
Yeah.
When we kind of did that, and some people say to me, would you change? And we got a lot of flack from taking the point on. Even still to this day. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Because I knew that God was in it. I knew that God was central to what we were doing. Yes, that doesn't mean that we've just got to go after the biggest and the best all the time and throw tons of money at it. I don't believe that's the way to do it. But I honestly believe God was saying, you need to put a marker down in this city. You need to put a marker down as Ignite and really tell people that we're serious, that we're legit about this. That isn't just a phase that's going to last for a couple of years and then it's going to be gone again. You know, 2015 we launched, 2020 we're still here, we both know projects that have happened in the region that have come and gone in that time.
Yeah.
And we're still here. And you know, people say to me, would you change the fact you took the point on? And was it the best thing for us to do at the time? In hindsight, maybe not. But actually, I think us putting that marker down and saying, yep, we're going to go for it. Yep, we're going to do it. We're going to try and pack as many kids in there as humanly possible. That would be safe to do that, and go for that. And I think really the mentality of how people viewed us did a whole 360 after that mission week.
Yeah, no, it's good. The next key lesson I think we've really learned, and we've really developed this over probably the last year or so, is that everyone has a part to play. And this is not just about Sean, it's not just about whatever artist we've got, it's not about me, but everyone in the team has a part to play. I know, just to kind of touch on a church thing as well, Vineyard Church do this really well with their leaders saying that everyone gets to play a part. And here at Ignite, we really believe that whether we're on stage, whether we're off stage, everyone is part of this, and Ignite wouldn't work without that. So just to give you a bit of an example, maybe if you're not familiar with this, quite often you will find Sean alongside the band, alongside whoever's kind of delivering the gospel slot in a school on the stage, up front, kind of that visible presence. And then quite often you will find maybe myself, we've got Sharia, who you met at the beginning of the video, and a couple of other people that are quite often in the background. And that's not because they're not capable of being at the front, but actually we realize that we've all got talents, we've all got gifts, and if we all use them, then we will produce a much better final product. And I think so at the beginning, it was quite often Sean's thing. I say this quite often, and this is just us being honest, and we recognize that as a team, but that doesn't bother any of us because we know how valuable each part is. So if you've got volunteers, if you've got team members, I'd seriously encourage you to really get behind them, really teach them about how valuable they are, because without everyone playing their part, it wouldn't happen. So I think that's one thing that we do well now, and actually we try and encourage other people with, don't we, whenever we come in contact with other teams, organisations, it's a team effort. We all have to be in this together, one purpose with one goal, and we need to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, throughout everything that we've done, with Ignite, and whoever's been involved with various aspects, whether that's the media, the lessons, the working with the bands, even for people that have hosted bands and done hospitality, everyone's played the part in this, is that God was central to every single thing that we've done. Every single thing, the littlest of things to the biggest of things. And still to this day, you know, the moment that God's not central to Ignite, and I've always said this, is the moment that we pack up and go home. Is the moment when we finish doing what we're doing and we move on to whatever. And I think I want to add to that as well is, as well as, everyone on your team has got their part to play. They've all got giftings. They've all got things, the stuff that Adam's way better at than me. I am the worst techie person in the world when it comes to some stuff. And I know I can phone Adam and go, Adam, I've done this wrong. Can you help me? And likewise, there's stuff that, Adam might say, oh, Sean does a little bit better than me. But actually, that's not a whole point of that. The whole point is that everyone on the team has their part to play. And I think for us as well, the big thing for us has been surround yourself with people that are good, influential people that will speak into you and not just give you the answer that you want to hear.
Yeah.
We've both been fortunate, myself and Adam, to be involved with ministries and projects and churches and organizations with some fantastic leaders. Some of whom are not in the Northeast anymore, have moved on to other stuff. Some are still here and are still inputting into us this very day. But it's getting alongside those people who are going to give you a bit of kick up the backside when you need to have it. Who are going to give you the answer that actually you don't want to hear. And one of the big things for us at Ignite is that everything we do, we debrief to like the 10th degree. And we normally invite the people along to those meetings that will give us some honest, but encouragement at the same time when it comes to the answers and the things that we did and the things that are. And I think, for us, a big thing from the very beginning, from 2015 and even beyond that, is we've had some fantastic leaders that have spoken to us, that we know we can still go to this day for advice on certain things. And what I would say to you is, if you're a part of a church or a ministry or an organization, or you're just looking for some sound advice, get around those people that would speak into your life. And they're just going to give you the answers that but they're also sound when it comes to what they believe, what they stand for, how they live their life. And one of the biggest things that we've always said of Ignite is, no matter who's on the team, actually, what you see on the stage has got to be just as important as what's off the stage. In fact, even more important than what's off the stage. And that has got to go from the very top to the very bottom.
Yeah, I think just touching on that point that you mentioned, it's all about that authenticity. I know Sean did a devotional the other day, and you talked about kind of what you feed yourself with is what's also going to come out. And it's something that, I'll be honest with you, we as a team, we're aiming to do better at this daily, and we're aiming to get better at this all the time, but actually feeding ourselves with God's word all the time, praying on a regular basis, just so that when we are then in front of 100, 200, 5, 10, however many young people, that's what's coming out of us.
Yeah.
We want to fill ourselves as so much with God's love, with God's compassion, with everything that we can to share with people. And we only do that through getting into his word, through praying, and through surrounding ourselves with like-minded people. Good. Well, I hope that little section's encouraged you. Again, if you've got any comments, any questions, please just ask them. I know we've got people in the chat that can respond to you. And also, we are looking to do a full conversation with some church leaders around this. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That'll be coming up soon. We're just going to move on to another kind of topic now that we really wanted to try and encourage you with. And that is around communicating with young people.
Yeah.
Now, we are in some crazy times. Everyone knows that. I don't think anyone's experienced a time like this, and hopefully we never will. But maybe when we can talk about how maybe churches can reach young people effectively, both now, during this lockdown, but also going forward. I know it's something that we've really had to work hard at, and we've seen some really big success from some of the things that we've implemented. So maybe just some key points that we can share with churches, people, about how to do it.
Yeah, and I think for me, I'll touch on the school stuff a little bit as well when I talk about this, because some of the stuff runs into that. Maybe you can pick up on some of those elements as well. I think one of the biggest things for us as Ignite has always been this two-way engagement. When we go to a school, I never want to be an organization that we just rock up to a school for a day, do a full program of assemblies, lessons, dinner time, concerts, pack up and go home, and it's just us for kind of 50 minutes to an hour just talking at the young people. And we know that the way we deliver some stuff through trial and error, we've tested a lot of stuff. We've seen some stuff work, we've seen some stuff not work. I think the model we're at now is the model where that's 5 years worth of schools work to get us to this point. But for us, it's about this two-way conversation. It's about this two-way thing. So when we go into a school, we'll pick a topic or a theme that we're looking at. We'll try and unpack that a little bit. We'll have the band doing a couple of tracks. We'll have some multimedia that's up there relating to the theme. We'll share a little bit as Christians from our point of view, and then we'll pass it back out to them and go, what do you think on this? And some people say to me, well, that's a risky place to put yourself in, because then you get questions fired back at you that you've got to answer and you've got to be accountable for. And, you know, I'm not going to delve into some of the questions that we've had in this conversation, but we've had pastors who've sat on our panels who've struggled to even, not that they don't have the answers, but you just, how do you answer something that is just real and is obviously raw to that person without, when you're trying to address like 300-400 young people. Yeah. So I think how we've communicated in lessons has kind of overflowed into every other aspect of stuff that we do. One of the biggest things that we see, and that you'll see if you've known Ignite for any time, is that we are quite active on Instagram. And we've had some people say to us in the past, oh, why haven't you got Twitter? Why haven't you got Facebook? Why are you not more active on Facebook? And why have you not got a group or a page on Facebook? And the simple answer to that is, and this is not a diss at any of those other social media platforms, that Instagram is where young people are at. And we can argue about this with other different services. Yeah, there's things like TikTok and Snapchat and other things that are on there. But Instagram's kind of that staple of where young people is at. And we've kind of really worked hard at the Instagram game the last couple of years to get good content out there. Content that isn't cheesy or watered down, that represents who we are as an organization just as much as the stuff we deliver in the schools do. And yeah, I think for us, that's kind of been that thing, again, for that two-way engagement of putting stuff out where they can get hold of that, they can read into that, and then they can feed it back to us. And it's still creating this two-way conversation. We're never going to stand there and go, you must believe this, you must believe that. That's not our job to be there. And I don't, in 2020, does that teaching style still work? I'll leave that for discussion. But yeah, I think, you know, you can maybe pick out some stuff as well about some other kind of aspects of communication. But I think for us, it's just about, you have to be relevant. And that comes from, and this is something, again, going back to the key things we've learned, sometimes you've got to keep one ear on what, and one eye on what culture is doing. And on the other hand, you've got to have one ear and one eye fixed on what you believe. And that's stuff that the Bible says, that's stuff that God's kind of downloading to you as well. And, you know, not that we're trying to get to a place where we're trying to be in the culture, but I think we've got to get in a place where we've got to understand stuff that's going on and culture's moving and what's relevant to the young people. We've got to be in tune with that a little bit when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I learned, and I learned it in quite a harsh fashion, I'm going to probably be a bit honest here, is to still be yourself. You know, I think we can look at kind of some of the big organizations out there. So maybe even stuff like the Hillsongs and that sort of thing that really have a big youth-orientated feel. And we can look at saying, okay, how do they talk? How do they communicate? But actually, you know what? God's called you to be who you are. And for too long, when I was learning and kind of stepping out from the shadows, I guess, so to speak, and communicating with young people, I was trying to communicate in a way that I thought would best suit them. Whereas actually I had to learn the balance of find myself and how I can best communicate my thoughts with them. And I think that's quite often an off-putting thing for a lot of churches in particular, that maybe they've never had young people. Maybe they're kind of an older generation church. And I'd seriously just encourage you to still be yourself. Yes, we want to be relevant, but don't try and be someone that you're not, because the kids will pick up on it straight away. You know, if you're not naturally funny, if you're not naturally cool, whatever cool is, neither of us can answer that one. But don't try and put it on. And one of the best things that I've learned, and I learned it big time in one of the schools that we were at, where we predominantly had a group of girls that we were working with, is that sometimes the best thing to do is to shut up and listen. You know, a lot of young people just want someone to talk to. Yes, we've got stuff we want to share with them. Yes, we want to share God with them. But sometimes it's more through our actions. It's actually saying, you know what, I value what you've got to say. I value what you're going through. I'm here if you want to talk to me. And just shut up and get out of the way, because it's not about us.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big news shock, I'm sure, to some people. But sometimes we need to get out of the way and just listen to young people.
And I think to back that up, every school we go into always says the same thing. We'll go into school. I remember one school that we went into, and we'd literally done one lesson. It was first thing. I think we did an assembly, then one lesson, and we'll just come in and, just like Aaron said, we'll just be real. We'll just be open. There's no hiding who we are, because they just say straight through that. They just see that as well, that's just false. That's fake. Whatever. And we went into this one school, did one lesson, and the head teacher came in, and he says, I've been in this school for 17 years. And he says, we have never experienced an openness in the atmosphere, in how you delivered, in how you valued what they had to say, how they responded to you. And we had young people opening up about some pretty deep stuff in front of 300-400 peers of their year group. And you could hear a pin drop in the whole hall. And that doesn't just come because we're good at delivering, or because the band was amazing, or because the video was the best video we could have got. Actually, because we went in and said, look, we respect what you guys have got to say. And regardless if we agree or disagree, or you agree or disagree with what we say, actually you have a choice when you walk out of here to act on what we said or not. And I think for us, that's been a big thing of just being, I think the guy's words, who was the head teacher at the time, said just real, authentic, upfront, no kind of punches pulled honesty with the kids. And he was like, and just like you said, you know, the young people, and we hear this all the time, young people aren't open to the gospel. That's what we hear. And it's an absolute load of nonsense on so many fronts. But yeah, sometimes it is just a case of young people just want to just talk and unpack some of this stuff up. And we need to help them and guide them with that, and not be overbearing or put our agenda onto them, but actually walk them through a phase of, okay, well, let's kind of discuss this. Let's open this. How many conversations have we had on the dinner time during a mission week where a kid have come up to us and said, you said this in a lesson, what do you think on this? It's hours we've probably spent.
That's some really good points there. I think I just want to kind of finish this off just with these final couple of points, is that we don't always get it right. And one thing that we're always looking to do is continue to learn and continue to develop our team. So maybe if you've got some ideas that you want to share, maybe some stuff that's worked for you, get in touch, because we're always talking to people. We're always saying, well, what's working for you? How are you reaching young people? We haven't got the answer. I believe we've got tools that we can share and that'll help. But we're always looking to develop. And secondly, as well, is that we're here to help you. One thing that I often get specifically from churches is that we don't know how to talk about certain topics. So it might be when you're looking and kind of into sex, drugs, alcohol, abuse, all these sorts of topics. They are challenging topics, but they're topics that young people need help with. So what I'd say is get in touch with us. We can either come and help and support and deliver sessions with that, or what's even better, to be honest, we can point you to resources that you can use. There are some amazing resources out there that literally you watch a video, you answer some questions, and it pretty much does it for you. But don't feel like you can't come to us for help, is what I'd say. I know even us as a team, there's certain lessons we go into and we're thinking, I have no idea how we're going to deliver this. You know, a school might turn around and say, look, can you touch on this topic? And me and Sean will look at each other and go, yeah, no problem. And then we'll walk away going, what have we just done? So don't be afraid, don't be scared. God's got your back, God's with you. And we hope that this has been useful for you. And so we're going to do more videos on this. We're going to try and release some more tools and resources, especially during this time where people are using the most of online stuff. I just want to say thank you on behalf of myself and Sean for joining in. We hope it's been helpful. If you've got any questions or you want to know anything else, get in touch. You can drop a message in the live chat, email us, however you can contact us, feel free. But thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you once again for joining our virtual worship night. I hope you've enjoyed it. Just before we go into our final song, I just want to say thank you once again on behalf of the team for your continued support through prayer, through finance, and through generally just backing the work of Ignite. I just want to mention that in September or thereabouts, I am going to be running the Great North Run to try and raise support for Ignite as well. So I'd love for you to support that. And it's not about supporting me, it's not about supporting Ignite as such, but it's about investing in the kingdom and investing in these young people's lives. And that's why I'm running it. It's not so that Ignite can have more money, but it's actually so that we can equip ourselves and resource ourselves more to be more effective for the gospel, to be more effective for advancing God's kingdom. So there will be a link below on how you can donate to that, as well as a link to our website where you can find out about just giving in general. But thank you so much for your continued support, and we're just going to go into this final worship song. Thanks, guys.
Oh, shame is a prison as cruel as a grave, and shame is a robber, and he's come to take my name. Oh, love is my redeemer, lifting me up from the ground, and love is the power where my freedom song is found. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. When I hear that trumpet sound, gonna rise up out of the ground. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. Oh, fear is a liar with a smooth and velvet tongue, and fear is a tyrant, he's always telling me to run. Oh, love is a resurrection, love is a trumpet sound, and love is my weapon, gonna take my giants down. Ain't no way my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. When I hear that trumpet sound, gonna rise up out of the ground. Gonna hold my body down. between death and life. And there on a tree the Lamb of God was crucified. And he went on down a hill, and he took back every key, and he rose up as a lion, and he set it on the captives free. There ain't no grave could hold his body down. There ain't no grave could hold his body down. When he heard that trumpet sound, he rose up out of the grave. There ain't no grave could hold his body down. There ain't no grave could hold his body down. There ain't no grave could hold my body down. There ain't no grave could hold my body down. Oh. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Oh. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Oh. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Oh. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Oh. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Oh. Said if you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. There ain't no grave hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. When I hear that trumpet sound, rise up out of the grave. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight for our online virtual worship night. We hope you thoroughly enjoyed it and you've had a great time. Please do stay in touch with the team by contacting us on the links below. Stay safe and we hope to see you all again very soon. I'll see you later. Bye.
To break every chain,